Everyone, how are you? Welcome to another lecture on physiology. A 44 years old man receives large volume of transfusion of the whole blood. The whole blood in 2 weeks old. Which of the following best described to handling oxygen? So a 44-year-old man receives large volume of the blood, and as it is large volume, so fresh blood they could not collect for this condition. They collect the blood which is 2 weeks old. So we have to find out the handling of the oxygen in this condition. Here the options: it will have low affinity for oxygen, its have affinity oxygen is unchanged, it is more radially release oxygen in metabolically active tissue than the fresh blood. The release of oxygen is metabolically active tissue will be the same as the fresh blood, and it will have an increased affinity of oxygen. So we have to find out the affinity of oxygen or delivery of oxygen in relation to the old blood, that means the 2 weeks old blood. So first of all, we have to know details about the 2,3 BPG, that means the 2,3 BPG or 2,3 DPG, that means diphosphoglycerate or biphosphoglycerate, and it is derived from the glucose. Here we can see the glucose. So in glycolysis process, glucose metabolize in pyruvate and lactate, and from there energy delivered for our body cell and tissue. And among this process, here we can see the 2,3 DPG or 2,3 BPG produce, and this 2,3 DPG is responsible for delivery of oxygen in the peripheral tissue. So when there is more 2,3 DPG, in this condition more oxygen delivery in the peripheral tissue, and when there is less 2,3 DPG, in this condition less delivery of oxygen in the peripheral tissue. And this DPG, it is derived from the glucose. In case of old blood which is 2 weeks older, in this condition 2 weeks older, in this condition the glucose level is reduced. For this condition, when the glucose level decreases, then 2,3 DPG also reduce, and for this condition oxygen delivery to tissue it also reduce. So in case of old blood, there is reduced oxygen delivery capacity of the red blood cell to the peripheral tissue and increase affinity of red blood cell or RBC to oxygen. That means the RBC hold the oxygen more hardly. Here you can see this is the glucose, and this glucose finally converted into pyruvate and lactate, and in this process 2,3 DPG is formed. So 2 weeks older blood, there is less glucose or glucose metabolized by the RBC, so there is less amount of the glucose, so less amount of the 2,3 DPG. And it is the summary: estro blood has less 2,3 DPG, so there is a reduced ability to release oxygen and increase affinity for the oxygen. And here the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, when it is left, when shifted to the left, when all are reduced. Here we can see hydrogen ion reduced, partial pressure of bicarbonate reduced, 2,3 DPG reduced, and temperature also reduced. And fetal hemoglobin, methemoglobin, and carboxyhemoglobin, they are also responsible for shifting the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve to the left. And when right, when all are increased, hydrogen ion concentration increase, partial pressure of carbon dioxide increase, 2,3 DPG increase, temperature increase. So when right, when 2,3 DPG increase, and when left, that is the decrease all the material. So what is the best answer? In case of 2 weeks old blood, there is increased affinity of oxygen to RBC. And other options such as the low affinity for oxygen, it is not true. Affinity for oxygen unchanged, it is also not true. It is more readily release oxygen in metabolically active tissue than of the fresh blood, not true, because in case of fresh blood there is more chance of delivery of oxygen. The release of oxygen in metabolically active tissue will be the same, not same, it is usually reduced.